Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Stargirl, and this is going to be my review for episode 4 for this season, otherwise entitled Wildcat. But of course, if you've not watched the episode, go away, go watch it, then come back to this video later on, because it's going to be spoiler central here. But if you have watched the episode, feel free to let me know all your various opinions, thoughts, theories, anything like that in the comment section down below. What did you like from this episode? What did you dislike? Let me know all that in the comments. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, I want to show you support for the Stargirl videos on the channel. Would be awesome if you could drop a like on it. Takes 2 seconds. Greatly appreciated. But last episode was obviously the big Icicle episode, where Icicle makes his way into town, or Jordan Marquand, we'll call him his real name for a second. And he definitely makes a statement as we see Joey Zarek get killed due to an incident with Icicle, him causing it. But obviously Courtney does feel somewhat responsible for it, and I guess Pat would as well. But he's not the only Zarek that dies in the episode. We also see William Zarek, aka the Wizard, also killed by Icicle after he confronts Jordan after the death of his son. So of course Denise Zarek, the widow of William and also the mother of Joey, is just distraught by it all, and yeah, just not dealing with it well. But of course the end of the episode sees Courtney go to the JSA headquarters and pretty much rob it. She definitely is a bit of a thief. She takes it all. Oh, not all. Actually, she leaves the Dr. Fate helmet and the J. Garrick helmet. I did see people wondering, like, why didn't she take Dr. Fate's helmet? It's the most powerful thing there. Courtney wouldn't know that, so she's just going with what looks cool, I guess. So yeah, that's where we pick up in this episode. But speaking of this episode, we start 3 months ago in the past. I'm liking the flashback things because you get like a feel of what's led into what the character's doing now. You don't have to get like just dialogue explaining it all. But we start 3 months ago with an extremely happy Yolanda Montez with a happy family consisting of her parents, her brother, and her grandmother's even living with her. She's going about her day where she is running for school president by the looks of it. I think you'd call it school president. In Australia, it's school captain, but I guess over there it's school president. Now, Ted Grant is her godfather in the comics. There's no real sign of it in this episode, or even in previous episodes, except for a photo of someone boxing. It looks older though, so it looks like it maybe could be her grandfather. It's hard to tell if it could actually be Ted or not. We'll have to wait and see in maybe a future episode. There's no real reference to it in this episode, unfortunately. But we do see that her boyfriend is Henry King Jr., which we assumed was the case, based off previous interactions, like before everything happened. But her rival is Cindy Berman in all of this, and looks like she's going for school president as well, or at least the same position that Yolanda's going for. And yeah, Cindy, just wow, we'll talk about it in a second. But Yolanda just seems to have the perfect school life, the perfect family life. Everything's just going for her, for now at least. Now, one night Henry asks for a sexy photo, I think it says in the texts, but it's pretty much a nude photo of Yolanda, and you know, it's her boyfriend. Like of course she would trust him, and that it's for his eyes only. He wouldn't share it. But somehow the next day at school, by the looks of it, Sydney gets her hands on the photo and beams it to every student while student council is being inducted. And I would assume Yolanda has been made president at that stage. But I guess the big question is, how did Sydney get this photo? Like, did she get it from just taking it off Henry in the hallway for that 1 or 2 seconds? Or did Henry send it to a few people and then Cindy was able to convince someone that Henry had given it to give it to her, and then she's been able to do that? One, Cindy's a sore loser for the first thing. But in regards to the Henry stuff, I think it's left up in the air as to whether Henry intentionally sent it out to like a lot of people, or even to someone, or someone just got their hands on it through other means. We might find out in Henry's focused episode, which I think is in like 4 episodes from now or something like that. He has a focused episode this scene, so I'd assume we'd get some sort of closure to all of that at that point. But regardless, Cindy, terrible person. Henry's up in the air in regards to whether he's an asshole or not. But anyway, with all of this, Yolanda's trust in Henry is obviously broken. She's not going to forgive him for that. And along with that, Yolanda's trust in everyone, I guess you could say for the most part, is broken as well. Like, it's exactly why she would keep to herself. But we do cut to Courtney, and she's in her half-day shirt from the comics, which is a very cool Easter egg to have in there. And she's hanging out with a collection from the JSA headquarters from the end of last episode. It's time for her to build the new JSA. The lantern, you know, the Green Lantern battery, if you want to call it, is damaged. It has like a crack on it, like the glass is broken. And the Thunderbolt pen doesn't work for her, luckily. I don't know why she would try it, maybe because she's got the connection to the cosmic staff. But in regards to that Thunderbolt pen, Mike does mention his friend Jakeem might be coming to dinner, but that gets cancelled because it's not hamburgers, it's defrosted chicken, and Mike's just not for it. So we'll save Jakeem for hamburger night, I guess. But obviously Jakeem would be Jakeem Thunder, or the future Jakeem Thunder, who would, you know, use the Thunderbolt pen and bring out the genie within. So I'm not expecting that next episode or anything. I think we might be waiting till the end of this season as like a cliffhanger maybe for that, or maybe even next season it's set up for that. But at least they're expanding the world by just mentioning names. Now, Pat and Courtney do have a conversation in this episode. I think it's the only one where Courtney hints that the villains of the Injustice Society might not be lying low within Blue Valley, but they might be some of the higher ups in Blue Valley. So you have like Henry King Sr., Doctor, William Zarek, Councilman, various things like that. They didn't know that at that stage that William Zarek is the councilman, but Courtney's on the right track. So I think it's going to be where Pat's sort of putting his focus through at least the next few episodes is in regards to finding out where these different Injustice Society members might be putting themselves within Blue Valley. So that'll be interesting to follow in regards to how Pat finds it all out. But we do see Henry bumping into Yolanda in the hallway, and he's not cocky like he was in the cafeteria in episode 1. Was that because he was with his friends at that stage? Or is he like this usually when he's by himself? Or is he like this now due to what happened with his dad? Does he regret that photo going around? Henry's character is a bit confusing at this stage because you just sort of get bits and pieces. So I think his episode later in the season will maybe round this all off. But if I had to make a guess, I would say it's due to what's happening with his dad. He's just feeling down. But man, if he's like what he was in the cafeteria in episode 1, he is an asshole. Maybe not as big of an asshole as Cindy. She's just evil. But Henry's an asshole. That's actually like how he is normally, if we're based it off that cafeteria scene from episode 1. Now we have Denise Zarek, obviously, as I said earlier, the widow of the wizard and the mother of Joey, coming to Pat's shop for help with her car. She goes off, does her own thing. But when she comes back later, we actually find out that she's actually leaving Blue Valley as a whole, and she tells Pat not to trust the town and that her husband's death was suspicious and not a heart attack. Like, she's trying to get out of Blue Valley fairly quickly for a reason, which we find out, we get a hint as to what it could be later on. But we also have her hinting at her husband being the wizard due to Joey wanting to be like his dad by following magic. She doesn't say, he's the wizard, but, Pat gets the clues then. It's like, well, wasn't he a councilman? So Pat sort of got suspicions around that. It was a very weird conversation with Pat, but it's definitely going to push him along the road of diving deeper into it. So it's going to be interesting to follow. Now, we also do meet Dragon King in this episode in the Injustice Society's base. Now, we learn that the Shade actually betrayed the Injustice Society. So, will he show up in Blue Valley as well to help out the heroes? It sort of goes along with the comics in regards to what the Shade does. He shades people sometimes. But that'll be interesting. Like, he is blurred out in that photo. So, was that intentional that they blurred him out? I don't know. Now, we do hear about this machine that's going to be built by Dragon King that will help the next generation out by sort of like destroying the current one. Now, this does sound like it's going to be the thing from the Stars and Stripes comic run towards the end, that big thing at the end, involving a satellite. That's all I'll say. It might not be that, but it definitely hints at that when, talking about the next generation prospering. So they go down that route. It'll be a very interesting last few episodes and finale. So I can't wait for it. If you want to go read the comic, you can. You'll know what I'm talking about here. Not going to spoil it in a review. But Dragon King does mention that he's working on his daughter, which for those that don't know is Shiv. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And I must say, looking at Dragon King, it's creepy. Like, not just the mask in general, but you can see his eyes and the skin underneath. Oh my god. Like, the way he blinks and stuff like that, it just gives me the heebie-jeebies just looking at it. And his eyes are really creepy as well, not just the blinking. You see, it's a bit weird. I think he might look less weird without the mask on. The fact he's got the mask on, you can just see those eyes, just makes it sort of, to look at, you know what I mean? But he does also ask for the wizard's body, so it'll be interesting to see what he does with that. But Courtney does choose Yolanda as her Wildcat. I guess it's due to Yolanda doing the boxing and Ted Grant being the heavyweight champion in boxing and stuff like that. But it is hard to bring her in due to her parents' strict rules over her, as well as just Yolanda's trust issues as we brought up earlier. But using Henry allows Courtney to get Yolanda on her side for a bit, so that helps. And this leads on to Yolanda trying on the Wildcat suit. It tightens to fit the body once the cowl is put on, which I thought was pretty cool. And as soon as this happens, Yolanda just smiles. Biggest smile you'll ever see. It's the happiest we've seen Yolanda as soon as she puts that suit on. Completely changes her. And I did love the testing ability sequence. I thought it was funny that they got the information for it all of Wikipedia. But I guess in the world of superheroes, like, that info would be online, so that makes sense. But you can see, regardless of like this new Yolanda within the Wildcat suit, there are still some inner struggles, and we see that on that scene on top of the clock tower, with the whole like, oh, do I jump off the building and stuff like that. There's still that inner struggle and inner battle within Yolanda, which I'm sure we'll see her go up against in future episodes. Now, Courtney does share the information with her that Henry King Sr., Henry's dad, is Brainwave, a villain, which leads them to think that maybe the other villains within Blue Valley would be visiting him in hospital, which, you know, that's a good theory. That makes sense. And this leads to a fairly cool scene with Yolanda scaling the building with her new claws and stuff. It was very Spider-Man 1-esque. We know, from the Tobey Maguire movies when he first discovers his powers and he's climbing the wall. Very similar. Was I the only one that caught that similarity? Or maybe it's even a reference to that, who knows? But when we get to the hospital, the records show that only Henry King Jr. is actually signing in to visit his father. And Henry's actually in there at that point with his father. And Yolanda's saying she is at least going to hurt Henry. Maybe not kill him, but definitely inflict some pain of some sorts, but ultimately chooses not to due to the state he is in. But obviously that doesn't seem right that Henry would be the only one visiting his father, as we do see Principal Bowen come in, who wouldn't have signed in, and she plays the violin, or should we say the fiddle, to Brainwave. Obviously we saw that the fiddler was in the Injustice Society photo on the far right, which would have been her husband, presumably. Now her son is who the fiddler is in the comics, Isaac Bowen, so I don't know what unless he's Isaac Bowen Jr. or something like that. But yeah, so she can play the fiddle as well. Or was she always the fiddler and the picture was just changed and it was always a female? Who knows? I guess we'll find out soon. But I think they might definitely be keeping an eye out in the hospital, at least in regards to who might be visiting him, because then you can sort of tick off who's good and who's bad within Blue Valley. Now, someone else that was also at the hospital was Beth Chapel. As we know, her mother works there and she was seeing her mother and having dinner with her. Now, right at the end, she actually sees Wildcat and Stargirl climbing the building after leaving Henry King Sr.'s room, but she actually hears Courtney say Yolanda's name, so she knows who Wildcat is at the very least. But it shouldn't take her too long to realize who the blonde on the cosmic staff was as well, especially if she sees Yolanda and Courtney hanging out at school. So, Dr. Midnight, she's coming. Now, Yolanda actually surprisingly does turn the Wildcat mantle away due to what is going on in her life, but it seems to have given her the confidence, I guess you could say, to talk to her parents about everything that has happened. Unfortunately, with no real success, apart from support from her brother, who was already supportive, which hurts Yolanda even more. Like, her parents are very strict. I guess it's somewhat realistic. I guess there would be parents, especially if it's completely tarnished reputation in regards to, around the whole city and stuff. But Yolanda's her to the next level. But Courtney knows that Yolanda is her Wildcat and leaves that suit for her at her bedroom window, telling her that she can't do it alone, with Yolanda embracing the role, heading out to meet Courtney to let her know, yo, I'm your Wildcat. Let's go. But the end scene was actually very surprising. I was like, oh, okay, what's happening here? And that's when we have Pat at the scrapyard, like we've seen earlier in the episode, and he actually finds Denise Zarek's cat in the scrapyard, the black cat, which leads Pat to finding her car, which looks like it's been hit from the side by something, I guess, fairly big, like another car or someone. And also, look, it's got mud and it looks like it's been in at least a swampy area, or at least a water area, or something like that. So maybe Solomon Grundy might have taken it down or something. As I said, it's been hit in the side by something. All we know is that the Blue Valley mystery keeps getting stranger and stranger, and I guess the death of Denise Zarek based of this is another sign of it. So Pat's going to be investigating. He better get his I don't know, some of his glasses on, maybe the pipe in the mouth, because it's Detective Pat at the moment. But overall, another really solid episode of Stargirl. Not my favorite. Episode 3, I think, is still my favorite, but I really enjoyed this episode as well. Jumping into the origins of Yolanda, what happened to her, what led to her, how she is in present day, and also just her transforming into Wildcat. I thought it was a really good progression of the character, and I'm excited to see where she goes, because she's still got stuff to deal with as well, like we saw on the top of the clock tower and just in her personal life. So there's still a lot of growing for her to go, and I'm excited to see where that goes as well. And obviously the mystery, as I said, just keeps getting stranger and stranger in Blue Valley, and who knows where it's going to go. But Pat, he's on the case. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like and it shows support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions about the episode. What did you love? What did you hate? Let me know all of that in the comment section. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.